Do you think Newcastle County as a whole sees price change in the next year or two?
I'm seeing it now. I'm starting to see that little downturn, especially in certain price ranges. I feel like the price range for that or for that possibility keeps going down. What I mean is 6 months ago, I would see that 500 to 550, 575 would sit longer than 400.
Okay.
And that's really just affordability,
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see that 400 to 450 range is sitting longer than it used to. So not only do we not see multiple offers in those type situations, but you're seeing houses sit a little bit longer. You're seeing price reductions. You're seeing a situation where if you go out looking for houses and you find one, you can buy it. Where, last summer it wasn't like that, So that's a plus for our market. Affordability is down, which is not good for buyers, but it is a plus for our market that we're just a little bit more balanced, which is really good for everybody. Obviously, if you're on one side or the other, like if you're a seller right now and you don't have something to buy, you're in better shape to sell last summer because they would have been bid up and crazy stuff. But
Right.
a market, a more balanced market is good for everybody. It's good for them.
How do we get to a more balanced market?
That's a good question. Like I said, we're kind of heading in that direction now for the reasons that we have probably the interest rates and the prices, which kind of, especially in Newcastle County, have kind of leveled off everything. But, if they do drop the interest rate over the next year, and I don't think this is going to happen, but let's just say it went to 5 next summer. Then you'd be out of a balanced market again because all these buyers would flood the market again. The prices would go up. It'd just be crazy again. So really, they kind of have to play that game, which they have been playing, of raising the interest rates and kind of just trying to level off some things. And it works differently, obviously, in different parts of the country, in different price ranges, things like that. But I know, again, in Delaware as a whole, especially Newcastle County, it's definitely leveled off.
What's the median price point in your area right now, like northern Newcastle County? Because when we say Newcastle County, it really does get split up by the bridge.
It gets split up by the bridge. Well, and obviously you've got North Wilmington, who you're probably looking at 500.
Pike Creek, Hocassin.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
and then you've got the city of Wilmington, which obviously is going to bring a much different price range. So when we start talking about a median price range, well, median will help you. An average, you don't want to take an average of Newcastle County because you've got $1 million homes in Greenville and you've got $10,000 homes in Southbridge in areas of the city. So the median, I think we're sitting around 375 right now. I'd have to check, but I haven't seen that lately. But I would say around 375. Is that the information that you have seen?
The info, I've seen it. It's put right around there.
Yeah.
Certain areas will pull it up as high as 401, 402.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of depends on the month, like you said, because there's so little inventory. It is kind of weighted drastically based off of what just happens to sell that month.
Yeah.
Overall for the year, it's the high 300s.
Yeah.
But it's tough to tell what the today market value is for so many properties just because of the formula that's used for any appraiser, which is a minimum of 3 comparable homes that have sold within a mile within the last 180 days. That's the starting line for that document, and that just doesn't exist for most property. I know, like my property, for example, in Milford, we just had the second home sell in the last 180 days within that half mile. The problem is both of them are 2-story homes. Mine's a 1-story home. I have a basement, so there's 2 levels, but again, on an appraiser's report, they can't use that. So if I go to sell my home, there's actually no real guideline to state what the market value of my home is right now.
Right.
And to what you're saying, certain homes are sitting in certain price ranges right now. You mentioned 400, 475, which is largely the median home there now. What's happening below 400?
Well, it's hard to find below 400, especially like North Wilmington. Now I consider North Wilmington 19803, 19810, which used to be you could find 350, 375 and find a nice house. Now that's probably that house that you find in that is probably going to need work. So you're 450. So you don't see as much in that 3s. You will get into Claymont and start seeing $300,000 prices or 350 in there. But that's still that's still hotter because again, you talk about affordability. More people can afford a $300,000 house, obviously, than a $400,000 house. So you'll just have a bigger buyer pool for that. So there's still, I mean, if you find something livable north of the city for $250, it'd be going like that.
And can I explain why that's so dramatic? The difference in price point. We're in an interest rate crisis for most right now, especially first-time home buyers. Anybody who's financing the larger part of the property is going to be drastically affected by whatever the rate is. And the difference between things like 6% and 7.5% sounds like 1.5%.
Right.
In our brains, we're like, it's not that much. Amortized over 30 years on a loan that's structured to get most of its interest back in the first 7 years, if not 5. It's ballooned. You're not going to be attacking the principal of that loan for the most part for the first 3 years almost. That interest rate's drastically affecting any loan the higher and higher it gets. So for every 25 grand you're borrowing, you're talking about probably another $25,000 to $30,000 over the lifespan of the loan that you're paying in interest, which is going to balloon that mortgage payment. And we're seeing the same thing all across the state. $500,000 plus until you get into like luxury markets, where again you're talking a lot of second home money, cash. Slow,
Very slow. Yeah, I mean that's a steep mortgage payment.
very steep.
Yeah, and you got to obviously make a lot of money to do that with your income, obviously your debt to income ratio, and it just gets uncomfortable for a lot of people. So when you're borrowing, especially if you're at obviously you can get a $500,000 loan with an FHA loan, but that's a big mortgage.
That's a hefty amount to finance.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You're financing a loan that's going to have you a $4,500 plus mortgage payment.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah.